Me and my homie were talking last night, and he started bringing up the fact that things are less affordable and the cost of living isn't great. And I couldn't help but tell him, what are you talking about? The cost of living is not that damn bad. Oh, my health insurance premium is about to go up. Don't get sick. Sometimes simple problems calls for simple solutions. Like, how are you living paycheck to paycheck? Let's say you get paid this Friday. What happened to the last check? You didn't think about that, huh? Oh my God. I don't care that you haven't had a meaningful raise in years and are probably underpaid. Think about the shareholders. What would they want? When the rent goes up in your apartment, look on the bright side. Somebody somewhere is making extra money off you, and that should make you happy. Or maybe you're just selfish. I don't know. You are under spells, people. Spell? Well, I ain't under no spell. Yes, you are. If you stop buying $6 coffees every morning, you'll be able to afford a down payment on a house in 6 months. Let me show you. If you invest $6 every day into a high yield savings account for 6 months, you have roughly $1,100. And that's enough to put a down payment. Wait a minute.
Every time I pick up my phone and do a little doom scrolling on TikTok, I see the same thing over and over and over. People complaining about the cost of living, whether it's the rent prices, home prices, the prices of gas, groceries, daycare, whatever. Everyone is complaining and everyone is fed up. Americans are working full time, working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, 2 or 3 jobs, a side hustle, and still cannot afford the basic necessities. Instead of getting ahead, most Americans are falling behind. So the real question is, how are Americans surviving in today's economy? We're going to take a look at some videos from the good people of TikTok to see how they're dealing with the affordability crisis. But before we do that, I just want to take a moment to say, hey, my name is Miss April May, and I hope you're having a blessed day. If this is your first time visiting my channel, thanks for stopping by. And if you've been here before, thanks for coming back. Either way, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. Now, let's get into it.
People are clearly delusional in America if they don't think that there's a problem with the fact that to be able to rent an apartment, you have to make at least 3 times the income. You realize that if most people made 3 times the income, they probably wouldn't be renting. And the people who are saying, well, maybe you shouldn't want such a luxurious, bougie apartment, most people aren't looking for the most fabulous apartment. They just want somewhere safe. I'm sorry that safety is apparently now a luxury in America. Frankly, our job market is absolutely cooked. People are making bare minimum, not able to pay their groceries, their bills, anything, but you want them to make 3 times the amount of rent to be able to qualify to get an apartment. This whole side hustle culture, making it like a flex to work like 3 jobs, that's not a flex, that's exhausting. Have you heard of burnout, depression, anxiety? Because like we all got it, and this is why.
So she makes a great point. Most places that you go to rent an apartment, you have to make like 3 or 3.5 times the rent, right? So if the rent is $1,500 a month, you have to make at least $4,500 a month. So I get the landlord or the leasing company, the apartment complex, whatever, is like taking precautions to make sure that you have enough money to pay the rent as well as enough money to pay the rest of your bills. But in today's economy where people are spending 40, 50% of their paycheck just paying the rent, this in general is just completely outrageous. People are struggling, yet and still you still have to make 3 to 3.5 times the rent just to move in. And even then, it's not guaranteed that you'll be able to get the apartment because more than likely they're also going to take into consideration your credit score. So you might be screwed either way you put it. And then the other thing that I never hear people talk about is like when the rent goes up, right? So let's say if you move into an apartment or apply for an apartment today and you make 3 to 3.5 times the rent and you're approved for that apartment, your wages or your salary next year, and then the next year after that, and the next year after that might not go up at all or like very little. So you actually no longer make the 3 to 3.5 times the rent that you would need to had moved in the first place. Do you know what I mean? So as the rent goes up, if you were trying to move into that same apartment today, you would not qualify. Like, for example, when I moved into this apartment in 2021, I think it was 2021 or 2022. No, I think it was 2021. So yeah, when I moved into this apartment in 2021, I moved in and the base rent was about like 1300. So I made the 3.5 times the rent to be approved for the apartment. Now it's 1700. This is astronomical and completely outrageous. And there's no new amenities, there's nothing new. They didn't come in and paint or put in new carpet or nothing. If something's broken, I can call maintenance. But other than that, there's nothing new to constitute my rent having gone up like $350, $400 in like 3 years. So the fact that minimum wage now is not enough in any state, there's no state in the 50 nifty United States where you can rent a 2-bedroom apartment or be able to afford a 2-bedroom apartment is ridiculous. When people hear the term minimum wage, they don't equate it with the living wage because it is not, obviously. But that's what minimum wage is supposed to be. And I hate sometimes like going on TikTok and reading some of the comments in these videos because people are out of their minds. They always equate minimum wage with like kids, that if you're 15, 16, 17 years old, then yeah, you can make minimum wage, flipping burgers or, working in a retail, a store in the mall, whatever. But there are many people who are not 15, 16, 17 years old who are working minimum wage jobs. So basically, when you say that minimum wage should not be uh, increased or that it's only for kids and teenagers, what you're basically saying is that anyone who works a minimum wage job does not deserve the basic necessities of life. That's all that I hear. I don't know about you, but that's all that I hear. That you aren't good enough, that whatever work that you do is not important enough to society, that you deserve to have a place to live, to have food to eat, to have a car to drive, anything.
There is now 0 states in the US where a minimum wage job is enough to afford a 2-bedroom apartment. Now, whoa, before you go, well, don't work a minimum wage job, go find a better paying job. The whole reason a minimum wage was created was to prevent worker exploitation. The goal was to ensure that even the lowest paid workers could afford basic necessities. The real problem is that it's not even just the minimum wage. Even if you make the average salary in the United States $66,000 a year, you can still barely get by because the average annual expenses in 2023 was almost $80,000 a year. And we know that in the past 2 years, shit has hit the fan. To have the same purchasing power as the boomers did in the 1970s, a minimum wage job would have to be close to $60 an hour. A minimum wage job. Why don't you go find a $60 an hour job? Let me know how that goes. But no, we shouldn't tax the ultra wealthy and the mega corporations who are creating this crisis because we should just wait for the money to trickle down into our mouths and all over our body. It's going to trickle down.
So there are actually people working 2 jobs, a full-time and a part-time, 2 part-times, 2 full-times, whatever. There are people working several jobs, 50, 60 hours a week, and still cannot afford a basic 1-bedroom apartment in their city. And so, like this lady said, she's from Alabama. And when you think of Alabama, you would think, hey, you should be able to afford to live there. It's not LA, it's not New York City or Washington, D.C., or some big city. It's Alabama. But the issue with lots of states like Alabama, North Carolina, South Carolina, Louisiana, they pay very poorly. Okay. Likely, if you move from a big city like a New York or a LA, no matter what sector you work in, if you move to Alabama, you're probably going to take a pay cut. And it has gotten so bad that there are people who are working, actual working Americans, who are like, I cannot afford an apartment. So, you know what? I'm not going to get an apartment. I'm actually going to live in my car, or I'm going to live in an RV, or I'm just going to stay in an extended stay hotel.
How are people affording life right now?
We're not. We're living in our vans. We can travel where we want to, and we don't have a very big commute because we're already home. You can't buy too much food if you don't have enough space to keep it cold. You only have so much space to store your clothes, so you just don't buy that many. And you shop at places like this. It's really easy and cheap to heat the place because it's not very big. And my electricity is free because I've got solar on the roof. Listen, I still have bills to pay, but because I'm not paying rent or crazy-ass utilities, I can afford them. And because I buy less stuff, I'm not spending as much. My monthly budget is $1,000 a month, but I rarely ever go over. And since living on the road for over 10 years now, I've been able to fix my credit and save money.
So why do I choose to live in a hotel and not go out and rent an apartment? Well, first of all, call me a little crazy, but isn't a hotel pretty much a mini apartment complex? I mean, it kind of has the same structure, the same layout. I kind of look at it like they're mini apartment complexes. We don't need 2 bedrooms. I mean, honestly, it's me and my hubby. Sure, I could have went out and rented an apartment as long as I had 3 times the proof, 3 times the amount of their $1,600 a month rent, and that I had first and last month's rent, the security deposit, a background check, and the credit check. So, of course, after I hand them about $4,000, I could move on in, but then I would have to worry about utilities getting turned on. Power, water, trash, Wi-Fi. And no, I do not have to switch rooms every 28 to 30 days. Yes, I can get my mail here. And yes, if you have pets, you can bring them. It's going to be a pet fee unless it's a service animal. So yes, this hotel is pretty much my mini apartment. And it works for us. With that being said, y'all like, share, and follow, and I'll be back with more.
And like I said, these are not your people that you would assume who are like the traditionally unhoused, right? They are working people. They get up, they go to work, they work 40, 50, 60 hours a week. And instead, they live in their cars, or they'll save up a few dollars and buy an RV, or they'll live in an extended stay. So, extended stay hotels, I actually stayed in an extended stay for about 5 days when I first moved out here, because the apartment that I was renting, I had already signed the lease, but I came a few days early, and the apartment just, wasn't ready yet because I signed the lease for like 5 days after from when I moved. So I stayed in an extended stay hotel because going to like, your regular like Marriott or whatever, it was a lot more expensive. So I was just like, okay, I'm gonna just stay in this extended stay hotel and, hang out, whatever. I'm in this new city. I got things to do, places to go, whatevs, right? And so it was cool. But to see that people have to stay in an extended stay hotel, and it's not because it's much cheaper. In some cases, it can be cheaper. But the thing is, you don't have to worry about utilities, right? So you don't have to worry about like a water bill, a cable bill, an electric bill, an internet bill. You don't have to worry about any of those extra utility bills that you would have to worry about if you were living in your own apartment. That's number one. And number two, and probably most importantly, you don't have to worry about credit checks. You don't have to worry about putting in this big deposit or an application fee, because a lot of apartments you pay application fee. You might pay the first month's rent, first month's rent, last month's rent, a security deposit. Uh, you need to make 3 to 3.5 times the amount of the apartment to qualify for the apartment. None of that exists with an extended stay hotel. So there are lots of people staying there. Actually, there's so many, like 7 minutes away from where I live. And I noticed that where I live in this city, many more have popped up throughout the 8 years that I have lived here. And I honestly never really understood why until I came across these TikToks of people staying in extended stay hotels. So I don't know. Tell me how you feel about this. Have you stayed in an extended stay hotel versus living in an apartment? Let me know. How did it go for you? How did you like it? Was it actually much cheaper or about the same price as rent? Just tell me your experiences with staying in extended stays. Let me know down in the comments below. I want to hear from you. Let me know how you're feeling about the affordability crisis and the cost of living. Let me know what's going on with rent in your city. Are you able to save any money? The price of gas and groceries, have you seen it go down, as Trump said? Are your wallets looking a little bit fatter? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Also, let me know what topics you want me to cover next and what you would like to see in my upcoming videos. But before I go, I just want to say thanks for watching this video. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. My name is Miss April May, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.
You're officially coming with me. You got that. You're the drunk.